in a case about a woman being able to keep her baby. Listen to what he said.
And his term for her was she was feeble-minded.
Feeble-minded, that's what it was.
We have seen more than once that the public welfare may call upon the best citizens for their lives. It would be strange if it could not call upon those who already sap the strength of the state for these lesser sacrifices, often not felt to be such by those concerned, in order to prevent our being swamped with incompetence.
Okay, hang on. Let's just go over that. Let's go over that.
Digest that?
Yeah, let's just go over this. This is Supreme Court justice. This is one of the icons of the progressive movement.
Wow.
Listen to what he's saying and tie it into today. This isn't about abortion. This is about, I haven't given enough speeches. You don't understand. I'm going to pole vault. I'm going to climb over the fence. I'm going to parachute in because we're going to get this done. This is about, I went to Congress and I went to the Senate and there was some opposition in the Senate. So I'm going to sign an executive order anyway and get it done because I'm going to get it done one way or another. This is the idea. We are superior. And everybody else who doesn't get it, well, they're harming the common good. Because they just don't know.
It's always about the collective.
Right.
Isn't it?
Now listen to the words, because this is the same soup. You have to understand. You can bring me back to damn near anything that the founders wrote and said when they were giving a judgment, when they were saying, okay, this is what I believe. I'll stand by almost anything that those guys wrote. You can't stand progressives. If you read the history of the progressive movement, you can't stand by it. If you do, you're a monster. Listen again what he wrote.
We have seen more than once that the public welfare may call upon the best citizens for their lives.
Okay. So the society will send people off to war for the common good.
It would be strange if it could not call upon those who already sap the strength of the state for these lesser sacrifices.
Okay, hold on. So in other words, those people who are dragging us down, why can't we call on them to sacrifice?
In order, I'll skip that. Well, often not to be felt to be such by those concerned. So in other words,
they don't think that they're sapping society. They're
their
like,
families don't.
Wait a minute, hang on just a second. What do you mean I'm sapping society?
In order to prevent our being swamped with incompetence. So you can't allow the feeble-minded to take over society.
Okay, she wasn't feeble-minded, by the way. As it turns out, she was not feeble-minded, as they like to call.
It is better for all the world if instead of waiting to execute degenerate offspring for crime or to let them starve for their imbecility, society can prevent those who are manifestly unfit from continuing their kind. The principle.
Stop.
God,
listen to this. This is a Supreme Court justice in his ruling. He's saying, so read that part again.
Let's see, where did that start? It is better for all the world if instead of waiting to execute degenerate offspring for crime.
Stop. Play Joy Behar.
A commercial scheduled to air during Super Bowl has women's groups outraged. It's about a mom who ignores recommendations for her to abort her baby and how that baby grows up to become a Florida Gators football star, Tim Tebow. Now, the ad is from conservative Christian focus group Focus on Family, and Tebow says it celebrates life. So what are people flipping out about? I'm not sure.
I don't know. The only argument against any of it is that, he could just as easily become some kind of a rapist pedophile. I mean, you don't know what someone's going to be.
Unbelievable. Wouldn't it be better off if we just stop them from, procreating and keeping their kind alive? Punishing them later for their crimes that they may commit? 888-727-BCK, 888-727. Beck is the phone number. And I want to get into a commercial that we found in another Super Bowl that didn't seem to have problems that this one did. There's a pro-life commercial that is going to be airing in the Super Bowl this weekend. Do you notice how Whoopi Goldberg said women's groups are having a problem with it? Women's groups. Not far left women's groups, but women's groups. I don't know any women's groups that are normal, that have a problem with an adoption commercial. Have an adoption on, hey, you know what? Keep the baby. Give it up for adoption. But you never know. How is that offensive to say keep the baby? It's only offensive because this has been a long time coming. We have Joy Behar saying this yesterday on The View, and Whoopi Goldberg says, I don't understand the problem with this.
The only argument against any of it is that, he could just as easily become some kind of a rapist pedophile. I mean, you don't know what someone's going to be.
No. You don't, Joy. For instance, you spent most of your life thinking you were funny. And
that's not possible. No, she didn't.
No, she does.
No, she
does. She thinks she's funny.
Don't say that, Glenn.
Right.
Don't say that.
Should we have gone back to your mother's womb? She could. You don't know. She could turn out to be just an awful talk show host. So here she says, you don't ever know what somebody's going to turn out to be. He could have easily been a rapist pedophile as her argument for aborting the baby. I mean, what kind of Minority Report world do you have to live in to make that leap make sense? Then we showed you that this isn't a new thing. This is the progressive philosophy. We showed you Oliver Wendell Holmes. Read the last part here of Oliver Wendell Holmes. This is Supreme Court Justice, where he is talking about a woman who is pregnant and we need to tie her tubes because she's an imbecile, feeble-minded. As it turns out, she's not. She's not. But this is a guy who, Joe, you went to law school. You clerk for the Supreme Court. You are all... Oliver Wendell Holmes, revered. Absolutely revered. Why? Because, do your history, 1920, the progressives took over the law schools. And that's why you don't hear things like this. Oliver Wendell Holmes, a monster. Read the last part of this.
The principle that sustains compulsory vaccination is broad enough to cover cutting the fallopian tubes.
Hang on. Let's just look at this. What is the progressive philosophy? Why is it we're saying don't get into this health care? Because once they have a foot in the door, they will push it all the way open. That's what these people do. Progress. Little by little, drip by drip, progress. Hear what he's saying? We already give vaccinations. Why can't we tie somebody tubes? Well, of course we can. If we can inject something into you, we can tie your tubes. But he goes on.
3 generations of imbeciles are enough.
I'm trying to get my arms around that one,
3
Pat.
generations of imbeciles are enough.
So in other words, we should have gone back and killed their whole family
a long time ago before they got to this point. It's an awful family.
So here is Oliver Wendell Holmes. Then we have Joy Behar saying this.
The only argument against any of it is that, he could just as easily become some kind of a rapist pedophile. I mean, you don't know what someone's going to be.
Okay. How about this one? Let me go way back in the time machine on somebody who's no longer affecting policies at all. Indeed, it would be concluded that compulsory population control laws, including laws requiring compulsory abortion, could be sustained under the existing Constitution if the population crisis becomes sufficiently severe to endanger the society. Also, one way to carry out this disapproval might be to insist that all illegitimate babies be put up for adoption, especially those born to minors who are generally not capable of caring properly for the child. It would be possible even to require a pregnant single woman require her to marry or have abortions, perhaps as an alternate to placement for adoption, depending on the society. Who said that? John Holdren, our current science czar. Our current science czar. America. You see why I have been saying for the last couple of years, please do your homework on progressives. Please. You've got to wake people up to who these people are. I don't know how much time we have. And I